The outgoing U.S. President Donald Trump is not approaching the end of his term peacefully. In the latest spate of erratic moves, he's been granting pardons for his allies and supporters. Some critics are warning this is only the beginning as Trump enjoys power in the final month as U.S. President. Joining me now to have a look at what is ahead over the next 30 days or so, Professor John Stremlau, expert in international relations at Wits University. John, good afternoon to you. The potential for chaos with just over a month to go, how big is it?
Well, Jeremy, you're kind to talk about the U.S. People are trying to get a vacation in, and it's a reminder that reality intrudes. And Donald Trump is making the most of his last days in office, but we're not quite sure what his intention is, and we're certainly not sure what effects it will have. It seems to be under control because the Congress will override this recent veto that he did of the defense bill, and then he's now threatening to veto the assistance for the COVID crisis, the sequel to the CARES Act, the big CARES Act that was passed earlier last year, that does have bipartisan support. Donald Trump is militantly incompetent, Jeremy, in his last days, and is flexing his muscles, but no one would really convincingly tell me that they understand his mindset and what is driving his motivations. But the effects are disruptive, but probably not crippling.
The Republican Party itself, why is it not more outspoken? Why is it not doing more to stop him?
Well, you're asking a very fundamental question about the state capture of a minority that is ethnically based at the moment and rurally based, and gets its authority through the disproportionate overrepresentation in the U.S. Senate and control of the Electoral College that determines the presidency. Joe Biden had to win not only the 6 million vote majority popular vote, which in South Africa would be enough to secure him the win, but in the Electoral College, which overweights, as I say, rural areas and traditionally conservative areas. And the Republicans are scared about Trump because Trump did get an unprecedented number of votes from those rural voters. And they do have a tendency to primary the Republican candidates, and it pushes the party to the extreme. There's going to have to be a shakeup of that party. We're having a conflict here within our own ANC as we try to sort out the conflicts and factions. And the U.S. is suffering from the same kind of paralysis right now.
What about the chaos and the disruption from Donald Trump after January the 20th? What will he do you think, from the sidelines?
I don't know, because power does mean holding office, not being outside it. And I'm just thinking that maybe the cooler heads in the Republican Party, which have realized that the party has to reform. Even the Bushes knew that they had to reach out to Hispanics, they had to reach out to young people, they had to be more representative of the diversity that is America, like in South Africa. To have an ethnically based, ethnic nationalist party with the extreme right and being hardline on things like there's no climate change threat, there's a need to have prohibit abortions, being tough on the death penalty. All those conservative issues really don't resonate with the majority of voters, and so you don't have a future as a party unless you broaden it. And that may well take hold once Donald Trump is out of office. I didn't mean to be so long.
John Stremlau, the impact that this is going to have on the incoming administration, again, the disruption and the chaos, is it anything at all, or is it a case of that old line, the dogs are barking, but the caravan moves on?
Well, the caravan, one hopes, will move on, and Joe Biden wants to move the caravan on, just as Cyril Ramaphosa wanted to move the caravan on after his very narrow win at Nasrec in 2017. It's tricky, it's difficult, but you know, his documentation on U.S. foreign policy, which I think South Africans ought to pay attention to because we are a liberal democracy here. We do believe in non-racialism and non-tribalism and inclusivity. And he wants to renew democracy at home as the first approach of his foreign policy, and believes that his experience in the Congress, having been a senator for over 30 years, will give him the ability to reach out to those wavering senators, and it's a very narrowly divided Congress, as you know, both in the House and whatever comes out of the Georgia runoff election in the Senate on January 5th that will determine whether it's a 50-50 or a 48-52 split in the Senate, that he can work the margins and bring the country together, so that when he says renewing democracy at home is the basis for foreign policy, that's something South Africans ought to pay attention to, because that's what Cyril Ramaphosa is trying to do for us in this very complex democracy.
And in this very difficult time, Professor Stremlau, I wish you a happy Christmas. Thank you for joining us. John Stremlau is from the Wits University's Department of International Relations.